Hello and welcome to this course on Microsoft Virtual Academy, today with Microsoft and Chef. Chef is a company that has been established 6 years ago. They are located in 4 locations: Seattle, San Francisco, Atlanta, and London. Chef has a partnership with Microsoft since 2010 around Windows Server, Visual Studio, and of course Microsoft Azure. Today I'm with Steve Murawski from Chef. Steve, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Damien. I'm a community software development engineer at Chef, and that's actually a relatively new role. I started as a technical community manager there, but my team is responsible for a lot of our open source efforts, and pretty much all of Chef is open source software, so that gives us a pretty broad reach. I've been a Microsoft MVP in PowerShell for the last 4 years, and I've spent a good bit of time mainly working in systems administration roles. I was a site reliability engineer at Stack Exchange, the guys responsible for bringing Stack Overflow and Server Fault and a bunch of other great Q&A sites. Got a ton of great experience there. Got to play with desired state configuration in production there. It was actually one of the first production deployments of desired state configuration. And I get to spend a lot of time at conferences talking about this kind of stuff, DevOps and configuration management and just Windows Server management stuff in general.
So you have quite a lot of experience around those topics.
It's kind of where I decided to make my career. Automation, config management, the kind of stuff that helps people get home at night and stay home at night rather than having the pager going off and getting called into stuff.
You mean you don't like the call at 3 a.m.?
No, I've answered plenty of those, and I anything I can do to help people stay home at night more, or if you don't want to stay at home, you want to go out, hey, that's fine too. But anything that gets you more of your time back is I'm a fan of.
So basically, we'll learn how to get there.
Exactly.
For me, I'm Damien Caro. I work at Microsoft as a technical evangelist manager, and I lead a group of technical evangelists specialized on infrastructure topics. So that's pretty much same area, and we don't like to be woken up at 3 a.m. for sure.
Exactly.
I'm definitely passionate about new technologies, and I'm a big cloud addict, and I think that's where we both play in the same area.
Exactly. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to be in the cloud space nowadays.
Definitely not. So let's see, if we want to learn a bit more on Chef and how that plays, how would you drill into the technology?
Well, I'd like to start out just kind of outlining the problem domain and then kind of drilling into some of the specific components of Chef. Then we'll actually get down and dirty and get down on the command line and in our text editors and actually start building some configurations with Chef, taking a peek at how it works under the covers. And we'll kind of walk through, from the very basic usage to building comprehensive policies. And then towards the end of our time, we're going to actually do some work on Azure with Chef, because Chef and Azure is a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, from what I've seen, and I don't want to expose the results of the course, it's a very interesting story and is very well integrated. So yeah, that's the course of the course. The 4 modules we're going to cover. Are there any prerequisites you would recommend to our attendees to follow and learn before they actually get their hands on the technology?
Sure. One of the the kind of the core. You're not going to need it for what we're going to cover today, but as you start to play more with Chef and getting more into the automation space, a strong understanding of PowerShell is really, really key. Pretty much everything in the Windows ecosystem is automatable through PowerShell, and that becomes kind of the gateway drug into all the automation goodness. So there's actually some really good MVA content around getting started with PowerShell. So take a look at that. The other thing is, don't be scared of text editors and some of these other tools that we're going to talk about. Getting down into the command line. just writing out text. We're going to step away from some of the UIs. There'll be a little bit of that, a little bit of eye candy, but for the most part, a lot of the effective automation tools are really driven off of text-based things because it's very easy to version control. And so we'll talk a little bit about version control, but if you're really kind of eager to dive into this stuff, that's another topic that you're going to want to look at.
So if I can summarize, get a good text editor, go and watch some MVA courses and MVA Jumpstart around PowerShell. There is a good one with Jeffrey Snower that is available on demand. So I would definitely recommend watching that before getting more deep on this topic. And then, learn the keyboard and how to type lines of code.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're going to mention code a lot. And so our target audience really is IT professionals. And as a generalization, the IT pro group, which I come from, they generally have shied away from code just as a concept. But you know what? Some of the best coders I know came out of being IT pros because you know what? We write a lot of code that runs production systems. We just call them scripts. And you know what? If a script takes out production, it's just as bad as if a developer pushed a bad application out into production and things go wrong. So we do write code. We just don't call it as such. And so we're going to call it that today.
Correct. It's code with a different language, basically.
Exactly.
Good. Thanks, Steve. That's the introduction. Now we'll go into our first module and get into an overview of Chef.
Great.